All right, Joe Hobika, good morning. How are you? Joe is on the Utica School Board. He, of course, is an attorney and is also the city chair for the Republican Party in Utica. We have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we had our meeting last night, so I was reelected for another 2 years.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Congratulations.
What
is this for?
For the city Republican.
Oh, okay. Because there were some rumors out there that you were going to give it up after you went on the school board.
Well, I was seriously contemplating it, but I think that there seemed to be a demand for me to stay in for a little bit longer.
All right, cool.
Plus, you can't give up those benefits, right?
It's fantastic.
Pay
I got to tell you, being affiliated with some of the Republicans is just a blast.
Yeah, I bet you're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm having a great time.
Was one of the votes was your vote for you or for somebody else?
Did you vote for
I left the room. The next thing I knew,
wait a minute. They call the absentee ballots just came in. You lost.
It's all right.
Yeah.
No, I won from the absentee ballots.
I want to tell you. By the way, Dave Gordon is running as
He's a Republican.
Can I talk
Republican
about
now.
something more important?
No.
He's been building this up.
What is it? Is it big?
No, I just want to talk about my time on the school board.
You can. I'll get to that. But
I want to talk about something that's more important.
Okay, very
which
nice.
is the school district.
Very nice. But I do the show, and you follow along. Come on.
Okay.
I'll get to the school board stuff, which people are sitting at the edge of their seat.
I'm sure they are.
They can't wait.
I'm sure they are.
But on this here, have we all seen? Did you see it? By the way,
I did see it. By the way, I did see it. As a matter of fact, I got one at my house.
The direct mail piece that is this, by the way, is the most over the top, out of place direct mail piece I've ever seen hit a mailbox in Oneida County or the area. Joe, the most. It doesn't apply.
Well, there's no question it doesn't apply, and I think that there seems to be, based on the national politics.
Is he running for Congress?
Based on the national politics, based on the discourse that's gone on over the past number of years, there seems to be a misconception with many of the Republican Party members as well as candidates that, you know, this identification of liberal and conservative and you know, I guess using the name liberal as a derogatory remark. It just does not make sense to me.
Well,
I'm sorry.
let me read some of this. So the front of the direct mail piece. 38 years of supporting the Cuomo liberal agenda. Enough is enough. There's a picture of Cuomo and Sandy DePerno, and in big red, bold, and white letters, it says a Cuomo puppet.
Well, somebody identified, apparently, that in Oneida County, if you say the word Cuomo,
that's going to help you and hurt your opponent.
Well, no, you tie whoever your opponent is to Cuomo.
Right.
And that will help you somehow get elected.
The only thing missing in this is Nancy Pelosi.
I know.
I can't even believe he didn't go that far.
You know, I mean, look, I'm the Republican chair in Utica, and I believe in supporting the Republican principles. I just find the lack of intellect in I guess a lot of the political discourse that's gone on.
It's ugly.
On all sides.
Yeah.
It's just turning my stomach, and frankly, it's making me want to shut down to people's messages because they're not really messages. They're just a bunch of buzzwords.
Let's continue about these. By the way, this is for county clerk. Okay? Let's let that sink in. This is for the county clerk race. Raises, Cuomo, pro-illegal immigrant. What does that have to do with being county clerk?
Well,
okay,
I'm not quite sure.
Here's another one. She's anti-Second Amendment. What
isn't
does
it
that
really?
have to do with county clerk?
Isn't the county clerk job a service job really more than anything else?
You're an administrator, but
you're in charge of one of the biggest customer service portions of Oneida County government.
No doubt about it.
And so I guess being, you know, and again, it puts you in kind of a bad position when you're a Republican because I'm being critical of a Republican candidate. But the reality is that there's just no brains behind this. I'm sorry.
This is just a little bit of smart. This is a perfect example of just smart enough to be trouble. That's how I describe this. Because no one in their right mind would put out a direct mail piece like this.
Oh, you know the one word that was missing on here, by the way?
Swamp.
Out of the playbook.
Is swamp not in here?
Swamp's good, but also corruption. You got to put corruption in. You got to put the corruption.
Okay,
in
listen.
there.
Raises, Cuomo, pro-illegal immigrant, anti-Second Amendment. Don't let DePerno fool us again. Too liberal for Oneida County. Oh, my God. What did you do? Just look at a Claudia Tenney commercial and change out a few words? What is wrong with you? I'm not done. DePerno, on the flip side, DePerno gets $15,000 raise while we get long lines at the DMV. $15,000 raise, lies about opponent, $1.2 million deficit. Then he takes the next step and he goes after Timpano, Pacenti, and Rob Meier, printing their salaries. What is he thinking he's doing here?
Salaries under a proposed law.
Right.
Okay, so
it is even the real salaries.
Right. So, but the fact of the matter is that I just find it disingenuous when somebody starts talking about how much money someone makes, because you should get paid for your job. You should get paid based on qualifications. And there's nothing in here about saying, like, you know, he's only gonna take what the old salary is and that he's gonna give back the rest of it, or he wants to do the job for free because it's an altruistic act. And you know, I think pros get paid. Raising the issue of how much money Tony Pacenti gets paid or Rob Meier, I'm sorry, pros get paid. That's the way it is.
Yeah, and by the way, Joe, that is a Republican stance. This is a Democratic liberal hit job from a quote unquote Republican. That's not how Republicans feel. Republicans feel if you earn the money and you earned it, good for you. That's the American way.
I just think that's
the Republican way. What's he doing?
I want to do something on the cheap.
Right.
Just doesn't work.
So I think what someone makes in a city, a municipal position does matter. I don't know how it pertains here. Though.
Relevance, there's no doubt that it is not relevant. What it is being done is you're trying to say, look how much money he makes. He's raping she's raping this community.
Look, I'm sorry, but if you're looking to get qualified, first of all, someone running for office. Look, I never ran for office till this year, right? I ran for the school board. It's a lot of work.
What did I tell you when you were running? That's the first thing I told you.
I will tell you one thing.
Yeah.
Nobody runs, at least of import or significance, based on how much the job pays.
Right.
Okay?
Especially that.
You have to have at least some interest in governing.
Whatever happened to public service being an attribute? Today, it's thrown around. This whole, he's only been in public service his whole life. How disgusting. When in reality, you're giving to your community. No, they're raping us. It's all about the benefits. Come on here.
Look, I thought that it was foolish for the legislature, and I thought it was foolish for the Common Council to cut their own benefits. I thought that was ridiculous. There's a lot of work that's required to be done.
So
you should be fairly compensated for the work that you're doing.
According to this, right now, Sandy DePerno makes $70,000.
So what? Who cares? What does that have to do with anything?
I think it matters.
Can you let me finish?
It matters.
Can I finish,
really?
please?
I think it does.
Why?
Because everybody pays that salary. That's why it's a public thing. I don't think it's a bad thing that he's bringing it up.
You think that somebody should work for nothing?
Absolutely not.
You don't think that?
I think it's
you don't think?
Absolutely not.
Well,
100% no.
So what are we saying?
Okay, so let's say in reality it went from 7. I think this is misused. These numbers are scrambled.
Who says 70,000 was the right?
I didn't get to finish my point.
But let's say it goes from 70 to 140.
Let's say 70,000.
Why don't we triple it, Joe? What does it matter?
What do you mean? What does it matter?
What does it matter? That's what you're saying. What does it matter?
I'm saying
why don't we make it $180,000 tomorrow? We just raise it $100,000.
I don't think that that's appropriate for the position, But I have to tell you something. Who said that $70,000 is a good price?
And with that said, you guys both cut me off.
Sorry.
And I'm so used to doing that to you. It feels so weird. The fact is, what I was going to say and finish before you cut me off is that $70,000 sounds pretty fair for the position of county clerk. I think in a county the size of Utica, and we could compare it around the state. I'll give you an example. I might have been talking about a school district in this last year and was using the superintendent's salary. I'm not going to get back into it, but that salary was the highest in the area and one of the highest in the top 50 in the state. And it did not fall in line with teacher salaries and the staff, the bus drivers. None of that fell in line. So with that said, relevant to talk about, but because it's paid for by the public. Mm-hmm. However, this is being done in a way to smear, to make it look like, to make people say, I can't believe they're making that kind of money, especially people who will never make that kind of money.
One of the things that happens, I understand that, and
I think you're
both
on the same side.
I appreciate it. I get it, all that. But this is one of the things I have to say. The reality is that it's always unpopular to increase the salary of some elected official. But they're not eating cake and marching in parades when they have an obligation, okay? And the fact of the matter is that generally these salaries are not linked to a COLA. They're, sometimes you go years and years without any increase.
Not to mention, you get what you pay for.
Correct.
And we always, I hate to say, but we continuously brag about zero tax increase. We've gone this far without a zero tax increase. And, oh, by the way, boil your water. Because if we're not willing to pony up, we're going to end up with a horrible infrastructure. You're going to end up with bad employees. You're going to end up with a brain drain. Ultimately, we have to invest in the community.
I agree.
So I'm not against paying a lot of money for great talent. Mm-hmm. However, I think these salaries seem to be pretty much in line with a county the size of Utica. It's not raping. Then tell him to get off his fingers and call in.
Dave, call in the show.
We're not going to read his text messages. If he has anything to be able to stand up for what he sent out, then he should have the bravery to pick up a phone and call in. Or is he a coward?
7360186.
Will he be a coward if he wins the county? I can't believe I'm saying this. County clerk. I can't even believe all this is going on.
What did you just say?
In a county clerk's race, Joe. This is for county clerk. This is for county clerk. He's raised it to the elevation of the NY22.
One of the things that we might want to consider is that the county board of legislature or the county legislators establish the salary. Okay,
sure.
This is not something
government by the people,
right? And so it's the legislative branch of the county. That's number one. Number two, I'm assuming. I'm not sure how many people have sat on different boards or things like that, but generally, what you do is you'll take a survey of similar, whether it's an institution, a government, or whatever. And you basically try to determine whether or not the salary that you want to increase it to, or that is in place at present, is in line with other
standards.
Okay, so yes. I'm assuming that, and again, I'm assuming that most people are reasonable, so they're going to think long and hard before they decide that they want to increase a salary for a particular office. And I'm sure that, nobody wants to raise government expenses for no reason. But I would assume that, they did it because it was appropriate at the time. And I'm not just talking about the clerk's office. I'm talking about all the salaries.
I get it. I want to bring in a caller just before we hit the news break at the top. Former State Senator Ray Meier is on the line. Good morning, Ray.
Hey, Bill. How are you doing today?
Good.
Joe, hello.
Hey, Ray.
Hey, I got to tell you, Bill, I'm a lifelong, very loyal Republican. I am embarrassed that this man is my party's candidate for county clerk. And beyond the salary issue, this guy is a lifelong Democrat. He purely, as an opportunistic moment, became a Republican so he could run for something else, this time county clerk, in a long line of unsuccessfully, I might add, running for public office. And, looking at this thing, supports illegal immigration. Sandy DePerna was the lone county clerk in New York State who took on Eliot Spitzer, the Democrat governor then, when he wanted to issue driver's licenses to illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
And as a lawyer, too, I must say the clerk does more than issue driver's licenses. The clerk is the custodian of court records, real property records. It is a very important office. And that office, under Sandy and the professionals who work for her, is a very efficient and customer-friendly office.
This was and I'm up against the news in about 20 seconds, Ray, but this was a ridiculous, over-the-top hit job like I've never seen before. And listen, you're no stranger to going through some very difficult political commercials, but this was a hit job.
Oh, I know one when I see it. And but you know what? It's an incompetent hit show.
It is. Stand by if you could.